stalling to open a thing. Starting in camp, I believe buffet Heroes Feast. We got Heroes Feast. Sajara talked to Silas a little bit, mostly apologizing for kind of being an ass and saying like, "I'll not do that going forward. I'll trust you," which was very nice of him. Redane gives a very inspiring speech. So inspiring that, I feel bad. Coltark, there we go, was just like in tears, just sobbing from the beauty of the speech. Just applauding and just screaming.
Someone speaks that one!
Exactly.
Also, I am caffeinated as fuck right now, so doing his voice is easy.
You just don't have restraint. Redane then, after giving a rousing speech, goes to talk to, I was gonna say Kasai, but it's like more talk with Kasai to the, prisoner. Prisoner being relative in this case, but we'll get to that later. Gathering various bits of information, tossing around the ideas of, trying to feed him misinformation to a degree, but also it's like, well, they could detect lies, so it's hard to exactly give them misinformation when they would probably fucking know it. And then, along with that, it was there was also the idea of, like, not misinformation, but saying, hey, this is where we're willing to sacrifice, direct their attention there, kind of information. There was a lot of mind games that were going on, but he decided to put that on pause. This will come back to haunt him later. And he went to do other stuff. Let's see. Wow, I'm now looking at all the different conversations, and it's just like, oh yeah, no, it's just us talking, mostly to April / Kenneth.
Yeah. It was a shorter session last week too.
Yeah. I think it's like Anushka, Sajar, Redane, like everyone got their hand on the ball that is the conversations with Kenneth. Including learning his backstory, learning his name is actually Kenneth. Anushka looking over blueprints and diagrams that he's made over time, which he has a fucking book full of really detailed, really good shit to draw from. And then he also, like I said, mentions his backstory and how he doesn't do certain lines of work anymore. He's much more content with what he's doing. And he very much has the mindset of any idiot can use a gun, which is why he doesn't, like, mass produce his guns, because he doesn't want to have a bunch of idiots with very powerful guns. Or at least one of the reasons. Jump different group training. Fast forward. Loving is something you do. Lexeri. We talked to Lexeri for a minute. Kind of figuring out, one, what she's doing, because she was messing with these stones. I think they were described as river stones with, like, bits of gold, I believe, in them. And then we kind of get informed by her. It's just like, oh yeah, it's like her way of, like, interpreting omens and the stars and everything. We're like, how can you see the stars? There's, like, several layers of canopy and smoke. It's like, I just have it memorized. Which is a wild fucking statement. Mind you, she just has the stars memorized, but pop off. People did that in olden times, I guess. I don't know. Actually, yeah, there was probably, like, someone on ships that was, like, dedicated to just knowing star maps effectively, right?
Navigator.
Navigator.
They doing the navigating. And kind of asking her, like, what are you doing after this? Like, what's your plans here? And it's,
what are you doing after work today?
Yeah, kind of. It was kind of with the response of, I don't really know, and right now I'm not really caring, because I could be dead tomorrow. And it's like, okay, you know what, fair. So, focus on the now kind of thing. I feel there was more conversations, mostly just between, like, players, that happened. Because the next thing I have written down is explosion. Because we discover that the prisoner, wasn't entirely a prisoner, so much as like a strategic, suicide bomber. There was, I feel really bad that I don't remember his name, but there was a, individual that was in there that was guarding him that kind of got suckered into being really close when he explodes.
That's...
Hey. Oh, knows it. So does Redane. May his name haunt your mind forever.
Anyways, he's unbelievably dead. Like ash gone. Along with that, when the guy exploded, I think two of us, I think it was like Silas and Orianna, ended up kind of detecting that there was like something abound. And with the information, because I was mentioning, I'm just like, there's something inside of him. It's like, okay, it's probably related to that. So, with a group effort of chaplains and Brendan kind of carrying us on this one because he could just occasionally just ping and be like, oh, he's over there. We ended up finding out that it was one of the like little cherub angels, and it was kind of hiding in a well. We're like, why is it doing that? Well, Hexblade shows up, just disappears into the ethereal realm, because he could just do that. That's kind of cool. And shoots the fucking thing until it stops moving, including banishing it at the last second so it doesn't like explode and kill us. But he also discovers that it was trying to analyze the area and try to map everything out so it could have like a insight. It just knows where the fuck everything is. Luckily, it rolled really poorly, much like our favorite spy agent that was fighting against us the other day. Fucking,
I did no such thing.
What?
Moving on.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
Redane. During all this, I imagine this is basically happening like shit explodes, Redane goes does his thing. Because yeah, or it was when everyone was at a meeting. It was one of two. Basically, when no one was paying attention, Redane left. He ends up going to talk to the Grandmaster, I don't want to say the biggest baddest, but I guess he's like the second biggest baddest, or at least tied with the biggest baddest of their group. I was just like, hey,
that
run them
is
hands.
Dependent upon your perspective.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm just like, he could be second, he could be first. It really depends. And to summarize everything that he said into a much less competent way, he basically said, run them hands. Ugh. To put it simply, it was...
I bought it.
It was...
He basically casted Compelled Duel on him in word form.
Effectively. And the guy took his offer. And mind you, I'm understating how ominous and mildly terrifying this guy was. He kind of just knew shit that he shouldn't have known, and then there was an angel of a deity and it was actually a deity, and he didn't like hearing Nevros because it was like, I can't remember the exact wording, but it was basically like, don't soil my ears with that trash. Not trash, but it was some specific wording. He was a very imposing figure. I also think he's like 8 feet tall, if I remember correctly, and had wings made of hands. Fucking weird.
Yeah, if you guys ever see the Enlightened, or not the Enlightened, the Grandmaster's back, which will be a very rare thing considering how he doesn't turn away and run, his back basically are two rifts to another dimension, from which all these arms splay out from, trying to desperately clutch at something. Salvation. Maybe. Death. Sweet release, I don't know.
This sounds unbelievably ominous. There were two other things that I could think about. There was, while he was doing that, Sajar goes off and, prays. Yeah, prays. He like, meditates to talk to Shamandrax and ends up actually getting an audience, which is fucking wild. Good job. I can't entirely remember what he was asking for. AK, could you pop in and help real quick?
Sajaris basically said that he doubts himself. He is afraid that he isn't up to snuff, and that he doesn't fully believe that he is the bulwark he likes to pretend that he is. So he's asking for help.
Yeah, it's a very succinct way of putting it.
So? Is there anything else?
Orianna talks to Knight Astrid a bit. And kind of asks, like, hey, can you teach me stuff? And it's like, not right now, maybe later. But also, if you're training over there, then maybe I'll throw some advice. I don't know. We'll find out. Yeah. I think that's it. I don't think anyone else had any other little scenes at that time. I'll take the silence as a no. So anyways, I think that's basically where we left off. Oh, also, Redain said in his dealings, if we lose, they'll drop the guard. You can go in and stop them. And then the 70, he requested that the 703rd set up basically sabotage work in case they do lose to make sure that is held true. I mentioned that because that's
gotta open that door.
It will fucking happen. Let's adjust some volumes. And I think now that's it.
I believe so.
I've got my headset on.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't remember any other details.
It was like asking a billionaire to become their apprentice.
I can understand. Too muffled. So, let's get into it, shall we?
I'd rather not.
Hey, too bad.
Oh,
Shame.
is that better?
That's better, yes.
Oh, cool.
So, let's get into this. Then, we begin our session, and we're going to be going hyperspeed right now, so bear with me. We will begin our session with Redain returning back to the village with Grandfather Redwood sort of being like those trees in Dark Souls 2, aka his mouth opened up and he sort of broadcast the conversation between the Grandmaster and Redain out to all of you. Not the part with the 703. That one's still hidden, don't worry. But you guys do all know the contents of the conversation, word for word even. They were being played forward. And let me change the music. Oh wait, no, that didn't stop. Wait, there we go.
What did Alec change his name to?
So, Redain, you return back to the Stemken village and see on your approach vector back that they have congregated. Everyone having divided into their own subgroups. The Scholasta Bellatoria, you guys are all standing amidst one another's company. The Stemken forming their own mob. The 703rd are nowhere to be seen. They're out in the field right now. All of you, as the River Company, are together as well. So it's like high school after school assembly. Everyone just sort of makes and goes to their own groups. It doesn't take an insight roll as you return back, though. For any of you that are standing there, anticipating Redain's return, it doesn't take an insight roll to see that Reggie isn't frothing, but his teeth are bared. Maxine looks particularly irate. And a blanket of concern, suspicion, mistrust is laid upon the village. You emerge out from the brush, and the silence, the tense silence, is broken by Maxine. And what the fuck was that about?
Looks to her and then looks around. Doing what needed to be done.
By selling us out?
Do you think you were sold out?
I think you made a deal that didn't need to be made. and offered something that wasn't yours to offer.
I understand.
She begins taking a couple of steps forward, and as she does so, Reggie, you guys can see his hair becoming less patchwork, more apparent across his body. You can even hear him growling. He doesn't charge you. He is held back behind Maxine, but she does take a couple of steps forward. So
He just takes his sword and stabs it into the ground. Does the same with his spear. Tosses his bow off. You do what you think you need to. But Reggie, when we rode together, did I have any other goal than saving as many lives as possible?
make me a persuasion check at disadvantage. Reggie's not the brightest guy.
He's barely a guy.
He's barely a guy. This is very true.
Okay. So we're gonna do one of these. And then one of these.
God, even with disadvantage. Oh wait, no, you rolled a 5. Jesus. I rolled a 5 and a 6. I got a 17 and 18.
His bared fangs, because they're not even teeth anymore, rescind back to a more human capacity, and he stops doing that, sort of violent shake that angry dogs have. He doesn't transfer all the way back, but it does give him pause.
Planky. Kalua. Lois. Old Grork. Matkos. Darvin. And even Chaplain Dufair all gave their lives here for this. I would see that no more than necessary would have to lose their lives further. And I don't plan on losing. That's why I called out to Grandfather Redwood before I went, so he would bear witness to what was to happen.
Maxine turns over her shoulder and looks at the great oak that is Grandfather Redwood. His eyes still in like this sort of pursed, tight-lipped manner as it's been for the past couple days, as he maintains concentration and focus on what is equivocally him asserting his own domain upon the physical mortal realm, as opposed to Lyca, where everything is of her make and creation and will. He has to force it into reality itself to do something similar. She looks off at the great-grandfather and looks back at you. She doesn't seem particularly diffused, as in the same way Reggie is, but she doesn't remark further, and she gives him more pensive thought. And then she looks at you, dead in the eyes. I think you're a very, very brave man, Redain. But I think you dance on the fine line between bravery and foolishness. And your arrogance might mean all our lives.
He just nods. I understand why you feel that.
And another thing is, it was a rather unilateral decision. One you made on your own accord, with no mention to any one of us. Sure, you may have spoken to the great-grandfather, but we've had an evening together. We just had a war council. She gestures off at, the building where the war council is at. Did it not occur to you to bring it up? Ponder the idea, get different points of view on it. Perspective.
There would have been wisdom in that. But someone has to make the hard choices.
And you're making them for us.
I am.
A dark cloud takes over her look. Oh, are you? Make me an insight check. 15.
I've long since thrown down my weapons. You do what you think is right, as I have done.
She gets this callous smirk to her face. As you say. And she holds out her hand, holds it up, palm up, and begins muttering something in Druidic. Not even Druidic, even. It's a mystical incantation steeped in Druidic. And out from her hand sprouts a seed. A very familiar looking seed to some of you. If you really do be claiming our best interests, then you would have no problem following through with that. And she holds it out. Stand with us. Swallow it.
I have stood with you, and I will continue to do it, but I will not do so in subservience.
You're awfully big on freedom considering how you just robbed it from us. It's not a request, Redane.
And it's not an option, Maxine.
This standoff, tense as it is, holds 5 seconds, 10, 20, 30 seconds, a minute, 5. Everyone tensing further and further, waiting for some catastrophe to happen. A civil war, almost. But, before things come to a boil, and some grand camp combat is had, you guys hear a voice. A voice of a well-traveled young man who is not from either group, technically, even though he is related to you, Redane. The voice of Owen Magnus. He steps out from the crowd, emerges out from it, begins walking to the in-between midpoint between Redane and Maxine. And he has this pensive, considerate, pitiful, perhaps, or compassionate look to his face. As he goes to that destination, he does pass by Maxine, and when he does so, she turns to look at him, almost ready to smite him with some sort of spell, but she doesn't, and he closes her hand into a fist, wrapping and putting away, pushing down her arm, the seed. Alas, Maxine, you have my deepest apologies for my cousin's actions. But, no, his words are true. He is doing this for the benefit of everyone here. Even if it does seem risky. I simply ask you have faith in him and all that he's done and all whom he's brought. Owen gestures at you guys, the River Company. He gestures at Chaplain Dufail. He gestures sort of grandiosely, because the 703rd are just sort of around. They're not really here with you guys. He gestures at Lord Kovatark. And Kenneth / Abel. And Sir Levant. They've done so much for you with no benefit to them. Can you please extend that trust just this once? I think they've earned that. She furrows her brow and grits her teeth. You guys can even hear it. The teeth grinding sound. But she acquiesces. She relents. Fine. Then she turns to look at you, Redain. You better not lose tomorrow. And then she turns her attention back to you, River Company group, at, I don't know, 3 of you in specific. I wonder which 3. Don't forget where we stand and what we know. And then she walks away, flourishes her cloak even, rounds up the stem can, and the situation is diffused. Well, I wouldn't say it's resolved, but it's at least diffused. And the evening is one of contemplation for all of you, as you guys scatter, thinking about tomorrow, about now, and what to be done for tomorrow, what might come after tomorrow, if you're lucky. Between the explosion that happened earlier and this situation, the evening is ending on a more of a sour note, I'm afraid. But even amidst such chaos, there's always time for some respite. And the best form of respite is oftentimes music. Young Mr. Owen Magnus does play some music as everyone just sort of busies themselves, calms themselves, readies themselves for what's to happen tomorrow in this, apparently, all or nothing style showdown. Allow me to change the music. I will say, or as I'm doing this, that the Scholastic Boatoria is a bit bummed that they're not going to be sent out after, Redain, you get your word in with Tala. Gods above be with all of you, truly.
Nej, alltså, this is shit.
This is a bunch of bullshit. Owen begins playing, well, the music you're sort of hearing right now. And it sort of echoes throughout the camp in tranquil, if a bit somber melody. Almost like something you would find befitting for, like, a wake or something.
Can I track down Redain if he's got, like, a time where he's left mostly alone? Or at least
Certainly.
a small group of people?
Certainly.
Go up to him and go, Redain?
He just seemed like sort of deep in thought. Yes. Sorry, Brendan. What is it?
I know I'm not as strategically minded as you lot, but why did you feel the need to do that?
He just looks around. I wasn't thinking straight.
Yeah, but normally that's my job in the party, or Sarah's. You normally got more of a level head on you. Why were you... forgive me for putting this mildly, a fucking idiot.
He just looks around and looks over to the 2 children. I was tired of losing preventable deaths.
Aye, so you've made it easier for them to be lost.
I don't think so, no.
You basically given them a better than even chance, because I don't think we're going to be able to fight, a god, or his whatever he is, and win, and given him better the odds than he has previously, seeing as based on the previous two engagements we were winning.
Yes, I agree. But do you not see the point?
No, that's
They
why
weren't
I'm asking.
coming to win. They were coming to take as much as they could before they lost.
No, I'm pretty sure they wanted to burn everything down to the ground and die trying. And you've just given them the keys to the castle? Instead of, preventing as much as possible, which is what you wanted to do? Why did we call in favors if you're just gonna disregard them and make what deaths we've had up to this point redundant?
He just sort of nods. We only got this opportunity because the victories we had.
Aye. So why would you make it more in their favor? I'm trying to wrap my head around this. I'm not well learned like you lot, but I am keen.
Tell me, what was our mission going to be when...
Our mission was to make friends and allies with... Well, it depends. What are you trying to get at? The mission with this current situation or the one we were originally assigned?
When we went out tomorrow, what were we going to do?
We weren't going to go out tomorrow.
Then you were lost. We were.
No, the very experienced warriors that we called in favors for, they were going out.
They were going out to stop the pyres. We were going to hold the line against the Grandmaster.
Aye. And now stopping the pyres isn't going to happen, and if we fail stopping the Grandmaster, everyone dies. Instead of, if we die, they still have all their defenses, and all the people that weren't gonna die.
What do you think would happen when we fell? And the gap?
Well, presumably, the gap wouldn't be there, seeing as we've already sealed it. We are holding a line against the Grandmaster, as best as I understand. We've already dealt with the barrier, protecting it and setting up an advanced ritual. The pyres were to help destroy their advantage as well in that regard. If those three things all succeeded, and two of them already have, then what would they have left to attack with? Even if we failed, we would win. Wouldn't that save more lives?
They would have the literal god in the sky.
Aye, and we've got a god in a tree. Except now you're putting all the pressure on us to save it instead of, the entire collective that we've gathered together. Not much of a company if we're just us villains.
He just looks back to him. If you would like not to go, that is fine. I understand.
Oh no, I'm going, but bear in mind, if we all start dying, I'm leaving.
I understand. I will try to provide cover for you so you can escape.
I expect you to die first. Self-preservation isn't something that you've displayed much of.
I understand your feeling.
Good. Just making sure it was known. You're a good man, Sajara. Bredane, sorry. I was looking down the
Ends
list.
it. We all make faux
Turns around.
pas. All right, we're all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep going. Keep going.
You're a good man, Bredane. But you're a bit too egotistical.
He just looks back down. Perhaps so.
I just hope we all don't pay the price for it. With that, he'll turn and walk away.
You depart. As I type this call out against some of you. There you go. You depart, and I think both of you are left with some thoughts from the conversation. The evening continues forward and forward more and more. Some of you finding solace